his second ever pole start in his a magnificent maiden MotoGP rookie season. 6th in the championship, the top independent rider. Can Zarco do it, Matt Burt? You got to say, he's probably never going to get a better chance in this afternoon.
Yeah, great performance in qualifying yesterday by Johan Zarco. Just had a quick break outside the commentary box. I think the rain just starting to fall a little bit heavier again after it eased off at the end of the Moto2 race. Joining Zarco on the front row of the grid, Danilo Petrucci on the Otto Pramac Ducati. 4th front row start of the year for the Italian, already on the podium 3 times in 2017. A podium this afternoon in the 24-lap race. We're making the first independent Team Ducati rider to have 4 podium finishes in a single season. And we do know, cast your minds back about a month ago to Misano when Petrucci pushed this man all the way for the victory in pretty similar conditions.
Marc Marquez absolutely dominated practice. Looked like he was going to dominate qualifying. And then, to the surprise of everybody, went out on slick tyres at the end of the session and dropped to 3rd, but still a front row start. He clinched the 2016 MotoGP World Championship here last year when he won the race. He's a former 125 and Moto2 winner here. Now we come to who could be the big surprises. Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia. Looks in great form. Fresh from that 6th place in Aragon, 4th here last year when he was riding the Suzuki. If he stays aboard, he could be on the podium.
Yeah, a best ever qualifying for Aprilia in the MotoGP era, that 4th place for Aleix Espargaro. In every single session in the rain conditions this weekend, he's been inside that top 3. Definitely a dark horse for the podium, Aleix Espargaro. 2 top 6 finishes this year for him.
Jorge Lorenzo is in the middle of that front row. 3 times winner here on the Yamaha. Fresh from that podium finish in Aragon 3 weeks ago. Dylan down in pit lane.
Sorry to butt in so quickly, but as you can imagine, it's very hectic down here. I'm with Danilo Petrucci on the front row. Danilo, we know you can ride fantastic in these conditions. I mean, what is the track like? What do you think you can achieve today?
The track is very, very wet. There is a lot of water, and 24 laps are so long. So I'll try with the extra soft tire on the rear. I think I'm the only one on the grid. I will try. Maybe I got something more. I don't know, but I have nothing to lose. I decide to risk.
Hey, Danilo, fantastic. Good luck. Thank you.
Well, there you go, Matt. Extra soft rear tyre for Danilo Petrucci. Now, what about Bradley Smith? A crash for him in the morning warm-up, but his best qualifying of the season. He's on the 3rd row of the grid. He has qualified 7th fastest on the KTM and alongside his teammate, Pol Espargaro.
Yeah, and crucially on that 3rd row as well, Andrea Dovizioso, Marc Marquez, the closest championship challenger. Danilo Petrucci's absolutely right. He's got absolutely nothing to lose. He can gamble. Takahiro Hachigo, Honda top brass here, trying to see whether Marc Marquez can take another crucial step towards another MotoGP World Championship.
Down to the 4th row of the grid, best ever qualifying in MotoGP for Alex Rins on the Suzuki. Alongside him on that 4th row is his teammate Andrea Iannone and a certain Valentino Rossi.
Keep an eye on Alex Rins. He was 3rd fastest in the wet morning warm-up session.
And here are the KTMs. This is Pol Espargaro. He is a former Moto2 race winner here. He comes into this race in very good form. Dylan.
Yeah, guys, I'm just down here on the grid. You just saw him, Bradley Smith. Bradley, absolutely fantastic qualifying yesterday. You're looking so much more comfortable on the machine. These conditions are, I mean, how much do they suit you? Do you think you can get the maximum out of it?
I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of water down on the track. I know that that's one of the most difficult moments for us on the KTM is when the standing water's there. But I believe that our bike's going to be good over race distance. It should be friendly to the rear tyre. We're actually able to go with the extra soft, so hopefully that plays into our hands today. But let's see how we go. At the end of the day, it's been a fantastic weekend so far. I've certainly given myself a lot easier job on a Sunday starting from P7. There's going to be a lot of spray in the beginning, and this is a 24-lap race, so we know what a wet racing titles. Stay upright and make it to the end.
Bradley, very quickly though, you said you can make that tyre last. Does that mean you have to be a little bit more conservative at the beginning?
I don't know what conservative means, so at the end of the day on these bikes we race 100% and what happens at the end we manage with.
Hey Bradley, thank you very much, good luck.
Well, Bradley Smith on the third row of the grid, and there you go. There are the championship contenders. Perhaps there's only two now, to be really honest with you. Marc Marquez on the front row of the grid, Andrea Dovizioso on the third row of the grid, and Maverick Vinales down on the fifth row of the grid after qualifying in 14th place. Here's his teammate, Valentino Rossi, who, let's be honest, has suffered very much the same problems, Matt.
Yeah, the 2017 factory Yamaha really suffering in those rain conditions. It's a pretty good impression of Valentino Rossi there in the crowd, wasn't it? Complete with the earring as well.
So, a crucial round, 4 to go, 16 points separating the two riders at the front. We have had a truly remarkable MotoGP season so far. How is it going to end up here in the rain in Japan? So here we go. We're in Argentina. Round 2 is underway. Oh, Marquez has grasped Maverick Vinales win. Valentino Rossi wins here in Aston.
Dovizioso versus Marquez.
Marquez coming to gate.
So here we go, Marquez, they're almost done. Dovizioso stands firm. Dovizioso's going to win here in Austria. Dovizioso in dreamland.
2 in a row. Ducati have done it again. Marquez takes the lead on the last lap.
Unbelievable by Marc Marquez.
Valentino Rossi dispatched Marquez up the inside of Valentino Rossi. Oh, he's gone through part.
There's no way.
Danny Pedrosa as they come.
Pedrosa third.
Here he comes in turn 12.
Marc Marquez leads the Aragon Grand Prix.
Take the checkered flag. This will be his 5th Grand Prix victory of the season. What's next? Well, we're about to find out. 24 laps in truly, truly difficult conditions. Here is Maverick Vinales, 28 points down behind Marc Marquez in the championship battle. And the man in pole, Johan Zarco, loves these conditions, has had a remarkable start to his MotoGP career and a former race winner here in 125 and Moto2. Let's have a look at that front row of the grid once again. Marc Marquez, championship leader and world champion. Danilo Petrucci chasing that first ever MotoGP victory. And the Frenchman, Johan Zarco, on pole. So welcome back to a soggy twin ring circuit in Motegi in Japan. This is round 15 of the MotoGP World Championship.
Front row Zarco, Petrucci and Marc Marquez. Row 2 Aleix Espargaro, Jorge Lorenzo and Danny Pedrosa. We know Petrucci has gambled on running that extra soft Michelin rear rain tyre on that front row of the grid.
The third row we have the 2 KTMs of Bradley Smith and Paul Espargaro and Andrea Dovizioso, who trailed Marquez by 16 points. On the fourth row, best qualifying for Alex Rins, Andrea Iannone and Valentino Rossi.
Row 5 headed by Loris Baz, Maverick Vinales clinging on to championship contention in 14th. Cal Crutchlow 15th, Bautista, Barbara and Sam Lowes on row 6.
Row 7 we have a Tito Rabat, Karel Abram and Hiroshi Oyama, and on row 8 Redding and Nakasuga, the Yamaha test rider, and Nozzoni, the young Japanese rider who's done a brilliant job replacing poor old Jonas Folger, who's back home in Germany suffering from a very nasty virus. Well, what is going through the minds of these riders? They've watched Moto 3, they've watched Moto 2 with the rain pouring down, and now it's time for the big boys to get out there and play in the wet.
Danny Pedrosa has also gone for that extra soft Michelin rear tyre. The 2 KTMs of Bradley Smith and Paul Espargaro too. 52,500 brave souls in here at the Twin Rim Motegi, out in force in pretty atrocious conditions to witness what could be a crucial round 15 in the World Championship. 16 points between Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso. Will they be clear daylight between that top 2 and Maverick Vinales, with Vinales struggling in the wet on the factory Yamaha, down in 14th place, his worst qualifying in MotoGP in over 2 years.
Dylan, down in pit lane, final word before we get underway.
Well, it is
The extra soft rears, is it a good gamble?
I think, well, could be. Do you know what? Because it is absolutely freezing. There is now more rain coming down. They did say, though, some of the teams had problems, some of the riders, was when the bike is upright, so it's the centre part, so it is going to be a bit of a gamble. But as Bradley Smith said, if the guys know they can make it last, then it could certainly pay off. I think Matt maybe has the list, but obviously keep an eye on Petrucci, Pedrosa, the KTMs, and the Aspar bikes.
Well, just see how wet it was there.
What?
There's some real running water on the track now, isn't there?
The problem is, Nick, as well, when you're in a position like Andrea Dovizioso, starting from 9th place, visibility mid-pack, the spray is so bad. We heard Bradley Smith talking about it. His main concern will be in those early laps, just being able to have a clear path to see where he's going. We saw it a real problem in Moto 3 and Moto 2 early on, so the front row starters should have a pretty significant advantage.
And they're not men that are a bit shy to run at the front, are they? They will absolutely go for it. I can't wait for the start. Johan Zarco, Danilo Petrucci, chasing that first ever MotoGP win, as is Zarco. And of course, Marc Marquez. Yeah, he's got a lot to lose if he goes for it, but he will go for it because that's the way he rides a motorcycle. And that's why he is a 5 times world champion.
Yeah, just quickly, the riders on the extra soft rear rain tyre: Danilo Petrucci on the front row, Carol Abraham, Alvaro Bautista, the 2 Aspar Ducatis, Dani Pedrosa, former race winner here in Motegi, is also on the extra soft, as are the 2 KTMs of Bradley Smith and Pol Espargaro. So 6 riders in the 24 strong field have decided to go for that extra soft rear tyre.
So here we go, 24 laps of the twin ring circuit here in Motegi. Round 15 in the MotoGP World Championship. Who will be the rainmaster here at Motegi?
Fantastic start by Marc Marquez, the World Championship leader, should get the whole shot. Zarco got away well too. Lorenzo tries to ride around the outside of Danilo Petrucci going into the first corner. Alex Rins runs it wide on the factory Suzuki, but Marquez leads here in Japan.
Yeah, I had a feeling he would try and get right away. Zarco's with him and Petrucci, so the front row are all there. But here comes Lorenzo. Lorenzo, amazingly, up into 2nd place.
Yeah, Lorenzo got a great start from 5th place on the grid. Valentino Rossi being pushed a little bit wide as they come out of turn number 4.
Through the spray they come, up towards the tunnel, turn 5. This is where a lot of oil was dropped and why we were so late starting in Moto 3 warm-up.
Dani Pedrosa was out wide at turn 5. You can just see how difficult it was, visibility further down the field. Marc Marquez has got a clear track in front of him, just where he wants to be in these tricky conditions. Lorenzo thinks about a look up the inside. Petrucci's got a way back through on Zarco, though, through the S-curve.
Oh, Zarco and Petrucci need to be careful. Lorenzo wants to get to the front. Remember, he's led a number of races this season, including the last run in Aragon. And here he comes at turn 9. And Jorge Lorenzo has put the Ducati at the front as they race up towards the hairpin.
Andrea Dovizioso's on the charge as well. Dovizioso just passed Alex Espargaro, so Dovizioso up from 9th into 5th place. And Andrea Iannone also on the charge in the factory Suzuki. Iannone up from 11th to 6th.
They're on the back straight, 700 metres, and it dips down into the 90-degree corner. Through the spray they come. And Lorenzo coming under pressure then. Sorry, Marquez coming under pressure from Petrucci, but Lorenzo still leads the way as they go through the 2nd of the tunnels.
We saw Lorenzo quick out of the traps in Misano in similar conditions a few weeks ago. He crashed out of the lead on the Adriatic coast. He's going to lead over the line at the end of the first lap here in Japan. It'll be Lorenzo from Marquez, then it's Petrucci, your pole man Johan Zarco. It's Petrucci close enough to attack on the brakes. Marquez at the first corner, he has a look up the inside. Petrucci will make it safely through. Marquez relegated back to 2nd, but only briefly. Marquez sweeps back through up into 2nd at the first corner.
Whoa, this is in atrocious conditions, riding these motorcycles this way. He's going to come back again at turn number 3. He splashes his way past Marquez. Can he make it stick this time round?
Yeah, we do know that Petrucci has got that extra soft Michelin rain tyre on that Pramac Ducati. That should be getting up to working temperature quicker than the soft. You can just see how bad the spray is there further down the field. Dovizioso's attacking Zarco. This is at turn number 5 and Dovizioso's through. He's now right on the back wheel of his closest championship rival, Marc Marquez. A moment there for Zarco as well as he peeled through turn 5. Left foot off the footrest for the Frenchman.
Well, it's a great start by Lorenzo. Probably an even better start as Petrucci goes up the inside of Lorenzo to take the lead. Danilo Petrucci leads the way. Remember what? 5 weeks ago in Misano, he led the race for so long until the last lap in these conditions.
He did do so much of the front running, didn't he, in Misano? Andrea Iannone now hunting down Johan Zarco. Iannone's had a real strong start. He's not had a top 6 finish as yet on the factory Suzuki, but there he sits in 6th place. Bit of a gap then back to Aleix Espargaro. Maverick Vinales has picked his way through from 14th up into 8th place. Rossi struggling outside of the top 10 in 11th.
Down the backstraight they come, well over 300 kilometres an hour. Then they break for this vicious 90-degree right-hander. Petrucci leads, Lorenzo in second. Marquez coming under pressure from his great championship rider, Andrea Dovizioso. I was going to say before Petrucci took the lead, Dovizioso has probably made the best start of anybody coming from the 3rd row of the grid.
Through the victory corner then for the second time of asking. A long, long way to go here at the Twin Ring Motegi. It will be Petrucci that leads over the line. You can see Marc Marquez struggling for vision as he comes down the start-finish straight, popping his head from outside of the screen just to get a clear run and where to pick his braking marker in that run down to the first corner. It's Petrucci opening up a slight gap. Fastest man on track he is with a 1:58.943, the only man on the circuit in the 1:58s.
Down they come, down to the double apex left. It's 3 and 4. Zarco tucked in behind Andrea Dovizioso. Dovizioso's got Marquez in front of him. Zarco behind him and Iannone behind him as well.
Rins has picked off Maverick Vinales, so Alex Rins is up into 8th place.
Just look at that. I'm going to say visibility, lack of visibility. We ride with Marquez, that is Lorenzo. You just about see the red light of the Ducati as they plunge through the first of the tunnels here, the twin wing circuit in Japan.
Yeah, Vinales is struggling. We know that factory Yamaha has all kinds of wheel spin problems. Dovizioso's through on Marc Marquez at turn number 7. Andrea Dovizioso then makes his move on Marc Marquez. So Dovizioso up into the podium places for the first time. It's been a scintillating first 2.5 laps from Dovizioso. Marquez though tries to fight back and he makes it through at turn number 9. He got tight but he's through.
He just will not give you a sniff, will he? You get past him and he's at you once again. Now Zarco says, right, Marquez can do it, so can I. And he almost clipped the rear wheel of the Ducati then as they come onto the back straight.
Yeah, the problem was Dovizioso got massive wheel spin coming out of turn number 9. He got it really spinning up on a patch of standing water. That's why he lost drive, and that's what allowed Zarco to close right up on him. Alex Rins is the man on the charge. We said keep an eye on Rins. He was 3rd this morning in the warm-up session. He's picked up Aleix Espargaro now, so Rins up into 7th place.
This is a great ride by Rins. Missed so much of the season with that broken ribs. This is his rookie MotoGP season. Not a bad day so far for Suzuki, but a long, long way to go. Petrucci crosses the line. He has a lead now of 1.3 seconds. I have nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
He told Dylan Gray on the start line, and he's riding like a man with nothing to lose. Is he en route to his first ever Grand Prix victory?
1:58.055, fastest lap of the race. Dovizioso again attacks Marc Marquez and makes it through at turn number 3. Marquez though will fight straight back again. It's instant retaliation from the Spanish rider at turn number 4. The only other rider in the 1:58s, or the only other 2 riders in the 1:58s last time around, Lorenzo and Alex Rins.
Here comes Marquez up the inside of Lorenzo to retake 2nd place as they go through turn 5.
Yeah, Petrucci with that extra soft tyre is checking out here. His advantage is over 2 seconds.
There's a real championship battle going on behind him.
Yeah, Lorenzo's lost another place to Dovizioso, and he's under real pressure now as well, also from Johan Zarco. Lorenzo just struggling with his pace at this stage of the race.
Surely Dovizioso's main aim will be 1, to finish the race, but 2, finish in
Zarco's
front.
through.
And Zarco up the inside of Lorenzo. Will he make it stick? They almost touch, but he does make it stick, and Zarco is through. Dovizioso's main aim, one would imagine, is to finish in front of Marquez.
They definitely touched Zarco. You could see Jorge Lorenzo's reaction. He was absolutely furious. A big shake of his head. Twice, actually, a big shake of the head from Jorge Lorenzo. There was contact. He felt that was too aggressive from Johan Zarco. It cost Lorenzo another place. Alex Rins was able to sweep through as well, so Lorenzo barged out of it.
And this is Iannone closing up on Zarco. Now, there's two men you wouldn't want to mess with in these conditions. Johan Zarco and Andrea Iannone. Both of them former 125 and Moto2 winners at this circuit.
So Petrucci comfortably clear of the chasing pack as he comes over the line at the end of lap number 4. Lorenzo got through, and Alex Rins, you can see the pair of them there just struggling for vision. This was Zarco's move on Lorenzo, and Lorenzo didn't like this at all. Look, there's going to be contact. Look at Lorenzo's head. There you go. He did not like that. This is up the inside. Great on board now with Johan Zarco. Yeah, they definitely touched.
Without a doubt. Here's the battle for second place. There is Zarco, there is Iannone, Alex Rins.
He's had his problems at turn 9 this weekend, Lorenzo, hasn't he? That's where he got torpedoed out by Cal Crutchlow on Friday morning in FP1. Oh, that's the Jonas Folger replacement, Kota Nazane, who's bravely riding out there. Fractured a bone in his right hand in a massive crash in FP3 yesterday morning, and unfortunately he's down the road again, is Nazane. Yeah, Lorenzo's really suffering here. He's been picked up by Aleix Espargaro.
He is going backwards at the moment, Jorge Lorenzo. There's Aleix Espargaro who's passed him.
I don't know what's happened to Lorenzo, because all of a sudden he's dropping back through the field like a stone. He's under pressure now from Valentino Rossi. In the blink of an eye, Lorenzo's gone from the podium places back to 8th, and now Rossi's reeling him in really fast. And Iannone through on Zarco. Best we've seen from Andrea Iannone, you've got to say, since the opening night of the Championship in Qatar when he fought for the podium before he clipped the rear tyre of Marc Marquez and went down the road. This is potentially a first top 6 finish for Andrea Iannone on that factory Suzuki.
Sorry guys, Kota Nazane, he's managing to push his bike back down pit lane, so they've actually started up his second bike, same wet setting, so I wonder whether he's going to try and head back out on that.
Well, he's done a fantastic job coming in very, very late. I think Brock Parks is in as need to replace Jonas Folger in the Australian Grand Prix in 1 week's time, but let's focus on the rain and the twin ring at Motegi, and teammates they may have been, not the greatest of mates, as Valentino Rossi is just lining up his way past Jorge Lorenzo, but really at the very much the wrong end of the field for the two former MotoGP world champions.
Cal Crutchlow's rejoined the race. Has Rossi got Lorenzo lined up at turn number 1? He thought about it. So we've got now down into the 158s for Dovizioso, Iannone, Marquez, all setting personal best laps. Marquez has cut Petrucci's advantage down to 1.4 seconds. Petrucci on that last lap, half a second slower than Marquez. Carol Abraham's another one to succumb to these really tricky conditions. Abraham, one of the 6 riders on that extra soft tyre, he's down on the Aspar Ducati.
Guys, just to confirm, Nazane has retired. His injuries are just a little bit too painful.
Many thanks, Dylan. This race is far from over, isn't it? Because the two championship contenders, there's Carol Abraham, as you can see, perfectly okay. The two championship contenders are closing up on Petrucci, Marquez and Dovizioso.
Rapid old crash there for Carol Abraham at turn 12.
Yeah.
Cal Crutchlow's coming back into the pits. It's been an awful weekend for Cal Crutchlow. No feeling whatsoever in those rain conditions. Struggling this year in the rain on that factory Honda. So it's another retirement for Cal Crutchlow.
Not a retirement, sorry,
Oh,
Matt.
Rossi's on the floor. Sorry, Dylan. Valentino Rossi's crashed out of the Japanese Grand Prix. Valentino Rossi, turn 8, that's where Rossi was down as well in FP3 yesterday morning. So Valentino Rossi was trying to find a way through on Jorge Lorenzo. In fact, he'd just taken Lorenzo for 8th place, but Rossi's race is over. 2nd year in a row, Rossi's crashed out here in Motegi.
But rather like when he crashed her yesterday, it's good to see him get up. He is okay. The leg that he broke not that so long ago is all right, but the race over for Valentino Rossi. Well, it's the race at the front now. Marquez and Dovizioso beginning to close down on Danilo Petrucci. I would think Dovizioso would be happy to stay where he is at the moment and just see how this situation plays out.
Yeah,
the gap
Petrucci's
now?
responded. He's just put in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:57.8. Only a couple of tenths quicker than Marc Marquez. The gap opened up to 1.6 seconds. A pretty forlorn and dejected Valentino Rossi makes his way trackside after that crash at turn number 8. We're going to ride on board now with Rossi. This is through turn number 7. Oof, yeah, he lost the rear again. He lost the rear at turn 8 yesterday in FP3.
Exactly.
You've got to say, he's lucky with 2 high sides in a weekend not to aggravate that badly damaged right leg. Just feeling his arm and his right shoulder there. It's been an awful, wretched weekend for Rossi and Vinales in the factory Yamaha team. Lorenzo on the last lap was in a 2:01.2. He was 3.5 seconds slower than Petrucci. What has happened to Jorge Lorenzo? He's having a nightmare out there.
And I do wonder whether it has anything to do with the rear tyre, because Cal Crutchlow came in. He's gone out on his second bike, but that has an extra soft fitted to it.
It's a great battle. This will be fought to the end between Johan Zarco and Alex Rins, 5th and 6th respectively. Both of them are not known for a great respecter of manners on the track, are they? It could be a very, very interesting situation. And full marks to Danilo Petrucci, who has fought back against the charge of the championship contenders, Marquez and Dovizioso. There is Zarco still leading the way for Iannone. The big Suzuki bosses are here this weekend. They must be delighted with the progress, with Zarco running 5th and Rins at the moment running in 6th place in front of Aleix Espargaro.
Yeah, by far the best we've seen from the 2 Suzuki men in tandem. Alex Rins stalking his teammate Andrea Iannone. Rins looks like at the moment he's got the superior pace as well.
Yeah. Just see how bad the conditions are as they come up through the victory corner. This is Zarco. We ride though with Petrucci down the start and finish straight. What's the gap? Is it crossing the line? Oh, it's been cut back once again. It's 1.1 seconds now.
That's because Marc Marquez just fired in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:57.277, almost 0.6 of a second quicker than Petrucci.
Let's have a look at those starts. Well, Petrucci made a great start, Marquez made a great start, and Dovizioso from the 3rd row of the grid made a superb start, as did Jorge Lorenzo from the middle of that, from the outside of, the middle of that 2nd row.
Been a fantastic salvage operation by Alex Rins. You can see from that overhead shot from the helicopter, he's pushed out really wide the first corner, Alex Rins. He was probably around about 15th or 16th place.
This is turn 11. First lap, Lorenzo leading the way from Danilo Petrucci.
Rins through on Iannone. Rins has got the pace here. Alex Rins is having the ride of his MotoGP career here in Japan. He's now up into 5th place.
Can he start challenging Johan Zarco? They can't believe it at Suzuki. They've had a tough old time. They had a great race here last year with Maverick Vinales in 3rd place and Aleix Espargaro in 4th.
Andrea Iannone will be smarting inside that helmet. You don't want to be beaten by your teammate. Alex Rins, it wasn't a flash in the pan this morning's 3rd place, was it at all?
No, definitely not. Still a long, long way to go in these treacherous conditions. One little mistake, get offline a little bit, brake a little bit later than want you, get onto the white lines, you're in big trouble. But Marquez, as you can see, is closing up on Petrucci.
Yeah, the gap down to under a second for the first time in a long time. Marquez just 0.8 back. He's dragging Andrea Dovizioso with him, but Dovizioso not making any real great impression on Marquez as they come through victory corner for the 8th time.
Well, I remember the race at Misano. He left it to the very last lap in a very similar position, Marquez, to go past Danilo Petrucci. I don't think he would risk leaving it as long as that if he can catch him.
Yeah, Petrucci fired in his personal best lap of the race last time around, a 1:57.787, but he was still powerless to stop Marquez cutting the gap. The gap now down to just under 0.7 of a second. These 3 have broken away from the chasing pack. Dovizioso 3.7 seconds clear of Johan Zarco, who's got his hands full defending 4th place from the hard-charging Alex Rins.
Well, we're not at half distance yet. It's Petrucci, Marquez, Dovizioso, Zarco, Rins, Iannone, Aleix Espargaro, Vinales, Lorenzo, Danny Pedrosa. That's your top 10. And it's Baz, Paul Espargaro, Redding, Smith, Rabat are your point scorers.
Pretty much as you were then through the first sector. Marquez just 0.7 back of Petrucci. Yeah, Marquez in Misano, he produced arguably one of the best last laps of his Grand Prix career. He was 1.2 seconds faster on the last lap than anybody else in the field in Misano to break Danilo Petrucci's heart. This is at turn 5.
I would imagine it's a mistake, is it, by Andrea Iannone, because Alex Rins is going to move ahead of his Suzuki teammate. He's done exactly that to take over 5th place as they go into the darkness of the tunnel. Valentino Rossi back, explains the accident at turn 8. The main thing is he is okay.
Well, we know that the factory Yamaha in these wet conditions has really struggled for rear grip, and Valentino Rossi caught out A high side for him going through turn number 8. Alex Rins has made light work of his teammate Andrea Iannone. In the blink of an eye, Rins has been able to open up a second of an advantage over Andrea Iannone.
Poor old Danilo Petrucci, he'll be looking at his board and thinking deja vu, won't he? He's coming again. Can I fight him off as I couldn't in that amazing last lap in Misano? Petrucci said afterwards he couldn't believe a man chasing the world title, wanting to retain the world title, could ride so hard in the wet on the last lap. But that is Marc Marquez.
He said the same yesterday, didn't he? He rides like he's not fighting for the World Championship. He rides like there's zero pressure and there's nothing at stake. Again, Petrucci was able to put in his best lap of the race, a 1:57.665, but it was a lot slower than Marc Marquez. Marquez taking another 0.4 of a second out of Petrucci. Petrucci's fighting tooth and nail. He's firing in personal best laps, lap after lap, but he just cannot shake off Marc Marquez. Talk about a dog with a bone.
We ride her with Marc Marquez. And there are the 3 leaders. There's Petrucci, Marquez and Dovizioso as they come through turn 5, just about hanging in there. But Marquez is the man on the charge, and poor old Danilo Petrucci chasing that first ever Grand Prix win. There's absolutely nothing more he can do than put in these fastest laps, his best personal laps.
It must be a nightmare as well when you come over the line, look at your pit board, you can just see plus 0.3, 93, your heart must sink. But he's doing a great job, just as he did in Misano, of being the front runner here in Motegi. In fact, he's eked out a 0.3 of an advantage on this lap. The gap's gone back up to 0.6. Don't know whether Marc Marquez might have just made a small mistake somewhere, because it looks like Dovizioso's just clawed back a bit of time as well on Marc Marquez.
Well, as we always say, he always gives you that glimmer of hope, Marc Marquez, because he rides so hard to make a mistake. This is the 90-degree corner from the helicopter, and for once you don't have to peer through the clouds to see the shot, do you? Through the tunnel they come, round the left-hander, then it will be into the victory corner, this final right-hander. And when they cross the line, there will be 14 laps to go. There's a long way to go yet. The race has been so good and it's so difficult. You think, oh, it must be well over half distance. We're not.
Dovizioso's got the hammer down. He's just fired in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:57.2, half a second faster than Marc Marquez. Again, Danilo Petrucci set his own personal best lap of the race. As we saw there, Alex Rins really hunting down Johan Zarco. The gap between the two of them, former Moto2 championship rivals, of course, down to under 0.2 of a second. The championship slipping away from Maverick Vinales, you feel. A lonely ride at the moment for him in 8th place.
Back at the front, this is Danilo Petrucci. There are the 2 men, well, closing up gradually on him, I think is probably a fairer way to put it. Through the first of the tunnels, up towards turn 6. Out of the gloom they come. That 93 smacks you in the face, doesn't it? As it comes out of the gloom, followed by Andrea Dovizioso, who's a canny old campaigner in these sort of conditions.
Well, it's the exact top 3 as it was in Misano, isn't it? Petrucci, Marquez and Dovizioso, those 3 proving to be the rain maestros this year as Rins continues
he's
to pile
lining
the
it
pressure
up, but he's not an easy man to overtake in these conditions, Zarco.
Well, and he'll know that from their Moto2 days, of course. They've had a few good scraps in the past, these 2.
We ride with Zarco as Alex Rins, easily his best MotoGP rider. Horrible start to his MotoGP season when he broke his wrist at Austin in Texas. But since he's returned and since he's got to full fitness, he has looked very much a good MotoGP rider.
Yeah, showing exactly what we all knew he was capable of doing. A fully fit Alex Rins coming to the fore ahead of his teammate Andrea Iannone by a second. Actually, Iannone's responding. He's taken 0.6 of a second out of Rins already on this lap. Back on board with Marquez through victory corner. Will it be a 3rd victory in a row in 14 laps time for Marc Marquez?
If you had to put your money on it, you'd probably say there's every chance that is going to happen.
Yeah, Marquez and Petrucci then exchange fastest laps of the race. There was just half a tenth between the pair of them. Marquez 1:57.108.
This is up at turn 1. Rins quite content at the moment to sit behind and have a look at Johan Zarco. There's Maverick Vinales, Pai Lorenzo, Danny Petrosa having a tough old time, and this Loris pass behind him is they're contrasting fortunes in these conditions. And Paul Espargaro on the KTM running in a 12th place. Scott Redding 13. Nakasuga 14, Rabata's gone up to 15, and Bradley Smith has dropped back to 16th place. Looks like a mistake from Bradley Smith.
Back with the race leader, Petrucci. Marquez in hot pursuit. He's under pressure still from Andrea Dovizioso. You've got a 6-second gap then back to Johan Zarco, who still is holding off the rampaging Rins.
Through the spray they come. Just look how wet that is. This is braking for the 90-degree corner at the end of the back straight. 290 to 70 kilometers an hour. That right leg goes out like a great big anchor. You need an anchor in the dry. You certainly need an anchor in the wet conditions. Danilo Petrucci, what a ride he is producing at the front. But he's got that horrible, horrible deja vu feeling that Marquez, and he's bringing Dovizioso along, are closing all the time. Are we at half distance yet? No, we're not.
You can see Andrea Dovizioso just pulled to the right-hand side of the circuit there, just to give himself a bit of better vision, rather than getting the spray of Marc Marquez down into that 90-degree corner.
He knows he's going to have to get into the spray at some point, doesn't he? If he's going to beat the championship leader. Over the line they come. 12 laps to go. We are at half distance. The gap, yeah, it's just over a tenth of a second. Don't really need to look at the timing screens. You can see how close it is. The three leaders are through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Dovizioso just put in his best lap of the race. Live championship, if you threw the checkered flag now. Marc Marquez with 3 races to go, heading to Australia in 5 days' time. Would have a 20-point advantage over Andrea Dovizioso. It would still be very much game on. 75 points up for grabs.
I just get the feeling at some point we're going to be talking about 25-point wins and 20-point second places. Marquez, he's not lining up Petrucci, but he's working out exactly what to do. Wouldn't he like to get past real quick and then put Petrucci and between him and Dovizioso and pull away at the front? If it's possible to do that in these conditions, well, only Marc Marquez knows.
So Marquez getting the spray of Petrucci's Pramac Ducati. Of course, last year was the year of the independent team, with the likes of Cal Crutchlow and Jack Miller taking famous victories in that record-breaking season. Can Danilo Petrucci had his name to that roster?
We ride out with Marquez, that is Petrucci in front of them. They're coming up to the hairpin, onto the back straight. Runs a little bit, well, I won't say runs wide, but he has a look down the outside. Now they're onto the back straight. Will he have a go? Is this the moment of the race? Is he going to cut up the inside at the 90-degree corner? Marc Marquez has done it. There's nothing in the right leg that Danilo Petrucci can do about it. Marc Marquez leads here in Japan.
That was a game of dare on the brakes at the end of the back straight. Marquez then holds Petrucci off as well through turn number 12. Marquez then leads.
Right. Andrea Dovizioso now knows that he's got to get past Danilo Petrucci as quick as he can. That will not be easy. As I tell you, Marc Marquez is going to disappear into the spray.
Yeah, you can see at the top of your picture as well. There's been no way through as yet for Alex Rins on Johan Zarco. Dovizioso is through. Dovizioso's made it through on Petrucci through those first 2 corners. So Andrea Dovizioso can commence the charge towards the front. His main championship rival and Marc Marquez leading the way. Danilo Petrucci will not be letting Andrea Dovizioso have it all his own way, but at the back of his mind, Petrucci will not be taking any crazy risks. If he were to take out Andrea Dovizioso and ruin Ducati's hopes to win the championship,
you'd hear that ripping
Danilo
sound of
Petrucci,
contracts.
well, he'll be walking home from Australia, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would. Marquez is on the charge. He has been absolutely superb in these conditions throughout the practice sessions, but he has crashed once. That's just the glimmer of hope he gives you. Can Dovizioso match the pace of the world champion and the championship leader?
Yeah,
we're going to find out in the next 2 or 3 laps.
He's asking Dovizioso, what have you got? Marc Marquez has decided that he's going to try and make a break for it here. Still a long, long way to go. 10.5 laps as they drop down into turn number 9. Marquez half a second clear of Andrea Dovizioso. Dovizioso did the right thing. He knew he had to get up the inside of Petrucci really, really quickly. Couldn't give Marc Marquez the chance to get breathing space at the front of this race. Top end of the circuit then, turn 10, the hairpin curve. They fire it down all the way up to top gear, down the downhill straight.
What an overtaking manoeuvre on the previous lap by Marquez when he went past Petrucci here. It was who's going to brake latest in the spray, and he held his nerve. And Petrucci's right leg was out, but it couldn't prevent Marquez coming through.
Well, it was a classic block pass from Marquez. He had the inside line. He knew that Petrucci couldn't turn in. If Marquez stood firm, as we know he always does, and there was nothing that Petrucci could do to respond.
Well, in many ways, it's how you want it. It's the two leading championship contenders fighting it out at the front.
Yeah, and straight away, the pair of them, having disposed of Petrucci, have dropped into the 156s. Marquez, the fastest man in this race, a 156.713. Zarco doggedly holding off Alex Rins.
Alex Rins knows, doesn't he? Catching Zarco is one thing, actually getting past him is another. Alessio Sparrow having a really good, and you've got to say, sensible ride in 7th place on the Aprilia.
Yeah, not what he would have anticipated given his performance in the wet so far this weekend. He was second to Marquez in this morning's warm-up. One man who's going to be bitterly frustrated and bitterly disappointed. This man, Maverick Vinales, will be one of them, but Jorge Lorenzo really fancied his chances in full wet conditions of fighting for his first victory for Ducati, but since the early laps he's been really left floundering, Lorenzo. At the moment he is almost 20 seconds off the pace of the lead battle. He's run into some major grip issues, Lorenzo.
Well, you've got to say, Marquez hasn't broken Andrea Dovizioso, has he, in any way at all? He's doggedly held on to him, and now will Marquez plan a new strategy, or would he just keep that pace up? What about Dovizioso? Is he absolutely on the limit, or can he push a little bit harder? I tell you what, if he beats Marquez here in these conditions, you've got to think that championship is a long way away from being decided.
This was Marc Marquez's move. It was a game of chicken on the brakes, really, wasn't it?
Was.
Marquez, he had the inside line. He knew there was nothing Petrucci could do about it. Petrucci couldn't tip in. Marquez had the inside line, ran the tight line to the apex. Petrucci thought about sweeping back up the inside at turn number 12, but there was no way he could make the move safely. And Petrucci struggling here to go with Marquez and Dovizioso's pace.
9.5 laps to go. It's the two you really want out at the front, and they are there. Marquez and Dovizioso fighting it out here in Japan. Are they fighting it out for the ultimate crown, the 2017 MotoGP World Championship, as they come through turn 1?
Yeah, one mistake now for either of these two will be a monumental moment in the World Championship. Dovizioso,
I thought he thought about it, do you?
He edges ever so close to the rear tire, Marquez.
But getting through and making it stick will not be easy. But he is lining them up. He's lining them up all the time as well. There you go, 21 points will be the gap, but of course it would be a massive turnaround if Dovizioso can do it, because it will go down to 11 points, won't it?
Yeah, this could be a pivotal race in the outcome of the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. The top two men in the championship slugging it out in the rain-soaked Motegi. Petrucci just about clinging on to the back of this too, although he's dropped a little bit further back on this lap around. That's the live championship, 21 points the advantage for Marc Marquez. It would be going to Australia.
But it would be 11, wouldn't it, if Dovizioso beat him?
Yeah. Yes,
I'm
it would be,
glad you
yeah.
nodded your head, because I thought I might have got that wrong.
Yeah, maths was never my strong subject at school, but I can work out that 16 minus 5 is 11. Yeah, I've just about got there on that one.
Bertie. God,
I've been sat in this comedy box for a long time. My arithmetic still copes with that one.
Well done. Down at the 90-degree corner. Dovizioso had not a look, but actually closed up on Marquez, coming out of turn 2 down towards turn 3. Will he do the same again? Coming up to the victory corner. Who's going to be leading the way to the victory corner in 8 laps time? Is it going to be Marquez or Dovizioso? They cross the line now. 8 to go here in Japan.
Looks like Cal Crutchlow's crashed again. It's been a day to forget for Crutchlow. They need to pack up and move on to Australia pretty quickly, LCR Honda team. Disastrous day, yeah. Cal Crutchlow then, 2 crashes today, one at turn 7 and one at turn number 11. I think he did that on the opening night of the championship in Qatar as well, Cal Crutchlow. So he moves on, hopefully to better days in Australia. He was the race winner, of course, at Phillip Island 1 year ago. But it's all about these two men at the front of the field, Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso.
Petrucci third, Zarco and Rins still fighting out. Iannone 6, Aleix Espargaro 7, 8 Vinales, 9 Lorenzo, and 10 Baz.
There's Cal Crutchlow, showered in sparks from his LCR Honda. That's at turn number 11.
Wow, what an amazing picture, but what a horrible picture for Cal Crutchlow.
Loris Baz has finally found his way through on Dani Pedrosa, so Baz up into 10th place. He's quite a long way behind Jorge Lorenzo, though Lorenzo's got a buffer of over 8 seconds on Baz.
Back at the front, Marquez and Dovizioso. That gap just a little bit bigger as they come through turn 9. Turn 9 means they have 7.5 laps remaining of this 24-lap race, and Petrucci doing a brilliant job in third place. He's hanging in there, hoping perhaps there's problems for these two leaders. Perhaps there will be a problem if they actually can get together. But Dovizioso is having to work very, very hard to stay with Marquez at the moment.
Yep, down into the 90-degree corner then Marquez. Stretch that gap now to just under 0.8 of a second. He's really testing Andrea Dovizioso now, Marc Marquez. What do you do? The risk over reward ratio will come into play now. We know that Marc Marquez, he is the ultimate risk taker. He's showed that in the last 2 races in Aragon and in Misano. He will go for broke.
Yeah, has Dovizioso, well, it's a conundrum really for Dovizioso, isn't it? If he goes for broke and crashes out, it could almost be goodbye to the championship. If he goes for broke and gets in front of him, it may not be the case. Iannone is slowly but surely pulling back the advantage of Rins and Zarco in this battle for 5th place.
Rock solid defence by Johan Zarco, though he has not given Rins a sniff at taking that 4th place from him. Back with Aleix Espargaro, who's having a fairly lonely ride in 7th place at the moment. 5 seconds behind Iannone, 3.4 seconds clear of Maverick Vinales. Going through this man's mind at the moment, Jorge Lorenzo, because not what we anticipated from him. Danilo Petrucci, his hopes of winning the Japanese Grand Prix appear to be fading seriously fast here. He just has not got the pace to go with Marquez and Dovizioso. Has he just abused that extra soft rear tyre, perhaps a little bit too much to keep himself at the front of this race in the early part?
We ride with Dovizioso, the man in front, as the graphic tells you, is Marquez. They're coming through turn 9. It's a little short straight up to the hairpin. Down through that box, the seamless gearbox. And then you've got to get on the power as quick as you can. You've got to be careful coming out of that turn as well. And down towards the 90-degree corner. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, you can see Dovizioso moves to the right-hand side of the track again just to make sure he had clear track, wasn't being impeded by the spray being kicked up by Marc Marquez's factory Honda.
I've got to say, visually, he's a little bit closer again, isn't he? We'll look at the times as they go over the line. And they do cross the line, there will be 6 laps to go. Can Dovizioso do it? Can he claw back? Will it be 10 precious points over Marquez in this championship battle? What's the gap, Matt?
Well, he fired in the fastest lap of the race, Dovizioso, 1:56.568, even though he got that rear tyre spinning up as well as he came out of victory corner. So Dovizioso, he said yesterday, if he felt comfortable and confident, he would go for the victory, and he's trying to attack Marc Marquez. Dovizioso piling the pressure on down into turn 3.
Oh, what a great race, and what a great championship this is turning out to be. The 2 championship leaders absolutely at it in the rain here at Motegi. Here comes Dovizioso up the inside on the brakes at turn 5. Andrea Dovizioso leads the Japanese Grand Prix.
Dovizioso then strikes potentially a crucial blow. Live championship standings, it will be down to just 11 points going to Phillip Island. What has Marc Marquez got to retaliate? We know that Marc Marquez is one of the strongest and most aggressive fighters in the history of the World Championship. He will not be giving this one up without an almighty fight. These two have had a real good showdown already once this year. Cash your minds back to the Red Bull Ring in Austria. It came down to the final corner, and it was Dovizioso that took the spoils.
Wow. 5.5 to go. 11 points it would be in the championship, but Marquez will not take this word is not to say it, probably lying down, but he is not going to take this lightly. Onto the back straight, down towards the 90-degree corner. But Dovizioso is on the charge, and he is opening up an advantage over the world champion and the championship leader. It might not be what Honda wants, but this is fantastic for the 2017 MotoGP World Championship.
Was Andrea Dovizioso just sitting pretty, sitting tight, very comfortable, just managing his tyres before deciding to hit the front and try and make that crucial breakaway.
in his hair can't go any white. If it could, it would, wouldn't it?
He's got no fingernails left for the flight down to Australia. Straight away then, Andrea Dovizioso still in the 156 is that last time around. Marquez dropped into the 158s. Dovizioso immediately able to open up an advantage of almost 9/10 of a second. This was the crucial overtake on the brakes at turn 5.
Yeah, brilliant. I won't say it took Marquez by surprise, but beautifully executed, as it has to be in these conditions.
There aren't many people, Nick, in a lap can take out almost a second on Marc Marquez, and that's exactly what Andrea Dovizioso has done here.
Anybody, I don't think there's many in a MotoGP paddock, but perhaps worldwide, doubt the championship credentials of Andrea Dovizioso. Watch this ride by Dovi.
Rins has finally made it through on Johan Zarco, then Alex Rins up to a fantastic 4th place. Zarco now has got to contend with the second of the factory Suzukis and Andrea Iannone.
Absolutely superb ride by Rins, isn't it?
Brilliant.
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
really top class.
Iannone through on Zarco as well. Zarco, I don't know if he made a mistake on the brakes at turn number 5, but Iannone's forced his way through as well. Andrea Iannone does not want to be beaten by his teammate Alex Rins. It will be Suzuki's best result of the season by a long, long way. In fact, they've not had a top 6 all year, have they, Suzuki? So there's a bit of bragging rights at stake here between Rins and Iannone.
Yeah, I've got to say Suzuki deserve a bit of success. They really have had a wretched time after such a great season last year, especially with Maverick Vinales and winning that race at Silverstone in England. But here they are, right where they should be, in front of the bosses as well. I know they're all here watching this weekend, and it's a super performance by them.
So has Marquez got anything left?
You wouldn't be surprised, would you? You would not be surprised. Well, he's keeping it constant now, isn't he? Dovizioso is not pulling away anymore.
No, he's not. Over the line they come, then a start, lap number 21, just 4 to go here in Motegi. 6/10 of a second, the gap between Dovizioso and Marc Marquez. Danilo Petrucci, he's just riding around, settling for a safe 3rd place. It's a very safe 3rd place right now for Petrucci. He's a long, long way clear of Alex Rins.
Marquez closes up marginally on the brakes as they come into 3 and 4. This is where Marquez crashed on a Friday.
Ducati have not won here since Casey Stoner in 2010. What a time to win in Japan, but you do know that Marc Marquez...
It's not over.
It's not over. Marc Marquez will fight like his life depends on it. He knows that these are 5 precious World Championship points. Shinichi Kikubu there, one of the big bosses at HRC, looks fairly pensive, fairly nonplussed, I've got to say, despite the drama unfolding in front of him.
I think that's the best way to look in these situations, isn't it?
Yeah, keep your emotions in track, just go for the stone-faced approach.
Yeah, right, down towards turn 9 they come. Marquez certainly has closed the gap on Andrea Dovizioso. They splash their way up to the hairpin and then onto the back straight. And we know how good Marquez is when they get down at that 90-degree corner. Is he close enough even to have a nibble? I don't think he is.
He wants revenge for Austria, Marc Marquez, doesn't he? He wants revenge for that, and he wants 5 World Championship points to extend his lead to 21 over Andrea Dovizioso.
We ride with Dovizioso. No sign of that Honda getting up the inside that time round. He is not close enough. Through the tunnel, back into the rain, up towards the victory corner. Oh, how Andrea Dovizioso wishes it was the victory corner on the last lap.
Marquez carries unbelievable pace through turns 12. He's got brilliant corner speed. He's so strong in that 3rd sector and the 4th sector this weekend, Marquez, and he's cut the gap to Dovizioso back to under 3/10 of a second. There's Petrucci all on his lonesome in 3rd.
Rather like Mazzano, he did a lot of the donkey work at the front, didn't he? But he's not going to win the race, but it should be another podium.
Yeah, Iannoni's.
Iannoni is absolutely flying.
Whoa, Marquez up the inside of Dovizioso at turn 3. He picks up the Italian, ruthless as always by Marc Marquez. He's back in the lead.
Right, what has Andrea Dovizioso got left? Come back at Marquez. Here they come. This is where he overtook him when he took the lead at turn 5. He's not close enough this time round. 2 3/4 laps to go here in Japan as they come up towards turn 6. He thought about it. He's not thinking about it. Dovizioso is through on one of the fastest corners at this circuit.
What a move by Dovizioso at the 130R. He's holding firm as well through turn number 7. This is the last lap in Austria. All over again, Dovizioso from Marc Marquez as they sweep through turn number 8.
Down towards turn 9 they come. The Ducati just holds the advantage. Here comes Marquez again. Marquez has got through at turn 9. There's nothing Dovizioso can do as they race up towards the hairpin.
Dani Pedrosa's day is over. He's entered the pits. Dovizioso, can he fight back at turn number 10? No, he can't. Is he going to be close enough to slipstream the Honda down the back straight and attack Marquez at the 90-degree corner? Dovizioso then trying to get a bit of clear track behind Marc Marquez. He won't be close enough to strike this time around.
Oh, bit of a wobble on the brakes for Dovizioso. Pulls out of the spray though so he can look up the inside of Marquez. But Marquez holds the advantage. Under the tunnel they come, into the left-hander, into the victory curve. When they cross the line, 2 amazing laps left here in Japan.
These two are leaving it all on the line here. The World Championship potentially at stake in this race.
That's gone out the window.
That's completely gone out the window. It's Marquez then that leads with 2 to go.
Into turn 1 they come. Marquez leads the way. Dovizioso closes up on the Ducati. This is where Marquez caught him on the I'm sorry, it's a little bit further round on the last lap. Dovizioso fought back at turn 5 to take the lead. But Marquez holds the advantage coming into 3 and 4. 1 3/4 laps to go in this amazing race in appalling conditions here in Japan. Dani Pedrosa back in.
Dani Pedrosa's slender World Championship hopes, they've completely evaporated. It's all about these two men, Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso. Dovizioso, he was maybe getting a little bit too hot at turn 5. This is on the last lap where he launched that daring raid on Marquez. Breathtaking move up the inside at the 130R. Not close enough to repeat that move this time around.
They come up to the S curve at this slight, was not really a hill, but it's just slightly uphill round the right-hander. And down they come towards turn 9. Marquez really has got the hammer down now as they come through turn 9. Less than 1.5 laps to go of another epic Grand Prix here in Japan.
Bautista's crashed out of the race. We're in sector 3. This is where Marc Marquez has been brilliant all weekend.
We ride with Andrea Dovizioso. That is Marquez in front of him. He's not going to be close enough to have a go at the 90-degree corner. Pulls out of the spray. Absolutely launches the Ducati down the straight.
See Dovizioso, it's aquaplaning as he hits top gear over the crest down into that 90-degree corner. Bautista's race is over. Back with the front then. 1 lap and 3 corners to go here in Motegi. This is crucial for the destiny of the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. 4.8 kilometres to go here in Motegi. It's advantage Marquez as they start the final lap.
They're separated by 16 points in the championship. It'll go up to 21. If Dovizioso could get past him, it would go down to 11. Danilo Petrucci crosses the line in 3rd place. All eyes now focus on the battle at the front, and Marquez is on the charge. It's going to take a remarkable move by Dovizioso to push him back to 2nd place.
Marquez came over the line almost half a second clear of Andrea Dovizioso. In Misano, when it was a shootout between Marquez and Petrucci, Marquez delivered the fastest lap of the race on the last lap. Can he do the same here to break Andrea Dovizioso and Ducati's hearts?
I think he's going to do it because he's into the tunnel through turn 5 on the last lap of the 24-lap race here in Japan, and Dovizioso is not close enough.
Can't close it down. Marquez still up by just 0.4 of a second as they sweep through turn 7. Halfway round this final lap, they just clicked through the 2nd sector and the gap still just at a half second. Oh, Marquez out of the seat. Marc Marquez, big mistake as he came through turn number 8. He's not over yet. Andrea Dovizioso can close right up as they come through turn number 9.
Lucky man, Marc Marquez, but he held on to it as he often does, and Dovizioso was not able to take the advantage. Up towards the hairpin they come. Time is running out for the Ducati and Dovizioso.
Can Dovizioso get that Ducati rear tyre hooked up as they power down the downhill straight? This is a crucial final couple of corners coming up. Dovizioso pulls out the slipstream. He's attacking up the inside of Marc Marquez. Can he make it through? Dovizioso leads in Japan.
He's got through. He's through the tunnel. They're coming up towards the victory curve.
Turn 12 for Andrea Dovizioso. He mugged Marc Marquez on the last lap in, but Austria. Marquez comes through at the final corner. Is he going to run wide? Is history repeating itself like in Austria?
Dovizioso has done it here in Japan. His 5th victory of the season. The championship is wide open.
The second classic last lap showdown of the year between Dovizioso and Marquez. And again, it's Andrea Dovizioso that reigns supreme. Massive moment in the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. We can just about catch our breath. Petrucci on the podium in 3rd place. Andrea Iannone's first top 6 for Suzuki in 4th. Rins a brilliant 5th. Jorge Lorenzo 6th. Johan Zarco, quite sure what happened to him in the last couple of laps. What a win. What a win in terms of the World Championship for Andrea Dovizioso. And again, he gets the better of Marc Marquez in the final lap showdown.
Unbelievable race. Just MotoGP, it just cannot get better in these conditions to produce a race and a last lap like that. And Andrea Dovizioso's 5th Grand Prix win of the season. 11 points separate them. Get on the plane, get on the bus, get on the boat and get to Phillip Island.
10 years ago here at the Twin Rim Motegi, Ducati and Casey Stoner won the MotoGP World Championship. One of the greatest days in the history of the Bologna factory. This was the key moment. Marquez, a mistake at turn number 8. This was what, look at that. How did he stay on board? Marc Marquez under immense pressure from Andrea Dovizioso. This was the crucial move on the brakes at turn number 11. This was just the start of the drama. An incredible last lap between the two again.
Yeah, he's the demon on the brakes, all right, but look at Marquez. You knew he was going to come back at the last corner. Here he comes.
But again, in hot, do or die. It wasn't the nonchalant flip of the hand this time from Andrea Dovizioso.
Oh, one of the greatest rain races I have ever witnessed.
They know that was massive. That was massive. Psychologically as well, to beat Marc Marquez in 2 last lap showdowns.
Here is the last corner. Yeah, he is in too hot. But I tell you what, when Dovizioso gets past, you watch, he leaves absolutely no room for Marquez to come back.
You remember in Austria as well, Dovizioso said he deliberately left the door open for Marc Marquez because he knew if he went for it, he'd run wide and Dovizioso on the cutback would win. As we said, 10 years ago since Ducati won their World Championship, their only World Championship here in Motegi, and they might have taken another giant step towards repeating that. 11 points. The gap between Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso ahead of the mouth-watering prospect of Phillip Island. We're on track again in just 5 days' time. Thank heavens for that.
Yeah. Matt definitely has got to lie down in a darkened room without a shadow of a doubt. Gigi Galini, I've never seen him so happy, and rightly so. Well done, Danilo Petrucci. Unfortunately, everything will be not taken away, but everything will figure on an absolutely amazing MotoGP race here in Motegi. Well, he could not have given any more, could he, Marc Marquez? But it wasn't a mistake,
Turn 8.
Because it got Dovizioso close enough to make the move.
He did. I mean, I think at that stage of the last lap, Marc Marquez felt he had it covered.
Yeah, I do.
Because through the first 2 sectors, Dovizioso had not made any inroads. The gap was staying at a constant 0.4 of a second. Andrea Dovizioso's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree when he saw Marc Marquez nearly down the road at turn number 8. Marquez actually, amazing that he stayed on board, because that could have been a disastrous last lap crash for him. As it was, he only lost 5 points in the championship. The last time Andrea Dovizioso won 5 Grand Prix in one season, he won the 125cc World Championship back in 2004.
Including a race win here as well when he won that title. What a ride. I would say the ride of his life. Andrea Dovizioso, head to head in the rain with Marc Marquez, has come out on top.
Yeah, his third win in the
He's
last 5.
exhausted. He is absolutely exhausted.
Oh, those races are just such a test of your concentration, the pressure. You know, he knows one mistake in a fight against Marc Marquez and you're potentially out of the World Championship. As it is, game on going to Australia.
Oh, I'm already excited about Phillip Island. Oh, brilliant stuff. Right, Dovizioso, Marquez, Petrucci, Iannone, Rins, Lorenzo, Aleix Espargaro, Zarco, Vinales, and Baz. Well done, Loris Baz, top 10. Paul Espargaro, Nakasuga, Lowe's. Some good points for Sam Lowe's there. Hector Barber, Tito Rabat, Scott Redding, Bradley Smith, and Hiroshi Oyama. 18 finishes in this absolutely unbelievable 24-lap MotoGP encounter in treacherous conditions here in Motegi.
Marc Marquez going on the
that's terrific. Yeah. Fantastic to see, isn't it?
Yeah, great sportsmanship between two riders this year who have, you've got to say, been a cut above the rest for most of the season.
Yeah.
Maverick Vinales, a lonely ride to 9th place. Surely that's curtains for his championship challenge. Vinales will go to Australia, 41 points behind Marc Marquez. I think we've seen the end of the Vinales and Yamaha challenge. I think we're down to a 2-horse scrap.
Yeah, and if it's anything like we've witnessed this afternoon, we have Phillip Island, we have Sepang in Malaysia, and we finish up, and it's gonna go there, I'm sure now, to Valencia in 4 weeks' time.
Just like Austria, but in the rain, wasn't it? That was.
Yeah, it was. But I think that's the best I've ever seen Andrea Dovizioso ride in a MotoGP race, because he had to do everything in that race, didn't he? He had to overtake, he had to take risks, he waited when he had to, he stayed out of the spray when he had to. Absolutely super. It was the ride of, a world champion.
Well, and sometimes when you go toe-to-toe with Marc Marquez, you get a blooded nose, but a couple of times this year, Dovizioso's come out on top.
Danilo Petrucci, he's on his way to speak to Dylan. He's done all the hard work once again, but he's on the podium.
So Danilo, congratulations, 3rd place here in Motegi. Once again, another great performance in the wet. You gambled with the extra soft rear tyre at the halfway point. You just dropped off a little bit. Was that a problem?
Yeah, I decided to take a risk and to go with the extra soft. At the beginning, sincerely, I got something more, but I decided to not push a lot. But I saw the others were a lot far. So I said, okay, maybe I'm pushing too much. And then at the end, I tried to stay with Dovi and Marc, but on the middle part of the tire was very, very used, and my bike spins a lot. So I decided, okay, a podium position is always okay, and I'm very happy. I would like to thank everybody for this result. Thank you.
Congratulations, Danilo. Thank you.
Yeah, great ride, and he probably won't get the credit that's due to him, because everybody will be talking about the Dovizioso Marquez battle, but he has had one hell of a season, hasn't he?
Yeah, the first time in history that a rider on an independent team Ducati has scored 4 podiums in a single season. Gives you an indication of what a stellar year it's been for Danilo Petrucci. I'm not quite sure he needs the sunglasses, though, in this weather, but I'm not going to deny him when he's had a podium in those conditions.
We'll let him off, as long as he doesn't wear them in the press conference. You probably will. Marc Marquez, what a battle, what a fight. He's going to go all the way to the wire now. He's talking to Dylan.
Well, Marc, congratulations, 2nd place here in Motegi, and what an exciting race once again. But just tell us, that little mistake in turn 8, do you think that's what cost you the victory?
Yeah, was amazing race. I mean, the 2 guys that are fighting for the championship, fighting until the last corner, and I tried. But yeah, last lap I saw that was a small advantage, but then I did a few mistakes. And especially on turn 8, I did a big mistake. Then I lose a lot. He recovered a lot, and then on the back straight, I knew that Ducati was a little bit faster. Even on the break point, they were faster. But then I tried on the last corner, similar like Austin. But okay, in this circuit, I already expect that he will be very, very strong. Now we are going to Phillip Island, that maybe can be different.
Fantastic, Marc. Thank you very much.
I'll always try, he said. I think that's about the understatement of the weekend, don't you?
This was one of several key moments in that race. Marc Marquez at this stage felt he had it covered, and then massive slide on that rear tyre out of the seat, almost crashed, and that just gave Andrea Dovizioso the scent of victory, and he pounced on it. Crucial mistake by Marc Marquez, but he laid it all on the line, didn't he, as we knew he would do.
Yeah, it meant when they got to the 90-degree corner on previous laps, he wasn't close enough to Dovizioso, but this time he is so good on the brakes. We knew he was coming. He knew he was coming. And he's now coming to talk to Dylan after his 5th Grand Prix victory of the season.
Oh, Dovi, congratulations. What a victory here in Motegi, and now 11 points to Marc. I mean, just tell us about that last lap. When you saw that small mistake, what were you thinking?
I knew I have that chance in turn in the back straight, turn 11, but I was too far. He was pushing really hard, and the tire was finished. Me and Marc, the rear tire was completely finished, also in the straight. But he did a mistake, so I was able to catch him, and I did a perfect corner in turn 10, and I was able to brake really hard with my bike. But I knew the last corner with Marc is always very difficult. I tried to close everything, but he found the way to try. But I was able to exit faster, and I'm so happy. It was very difficult. The grip was very low, and the drop of the rear tire was so high. But we did a great job from the first practice, and thank you to the team, because this year we are very strong.
Fantastic, Dovi. Congratulations. Thank you.
He certainly is very strong. 5 wins apiece, Dovizioso and Marquez. They're separated by 11 points. This is the last corner. He said, I knew he was coming, and he did come big style, didn't he?
Well, I'm sorry, that's as good as it gets. The 2 top riders in the world, slugging it out all the way down to the final corner. It does not get any better than that. The appropriately named victory corner was where it was decided. Is that one of the pivotal moments of this 2017 MotoGP World Championship? Andrea Dovizioso, his 5th win, 11 points, the gap with just 3 races remaining, all to play for between Marquez and Dovizioso. He lives to fight another day, Marc Marquez.
The Repsol Honda team know there's absolutely nothing more Marc Marquez could have done in that race. And I think you summed it up perfectly, Matt. This is what MotoGP is all about. To have the 2 riders that are fighting out for the championship, putting on a display like that in appalling conditions, just staggering. And if you didn't enjoy that, you wouldn't enjoy anything. Danilo Petrucci, what a ride into 3rd place. Gigi Dall'Igna, I think he might even go up on the podium. The man, you've got to say, behind the revitalised Ducati project in Grand Prix racing. Of course, they did so well with Casey Stoner.
5 wins, it's a high 5 for Ducati, no doubt about it.
Now they prepare for Phillip Island. What a different prospect it is to this twin ring Motegi circuit. Completely different circuit. But who won there before?
You know, the adrenaline and the emotion when you win at the last corner against Marc Marquez, it must be the ultimate buzz for Andrea Dovizioso and Ducati.
They live to fight another day.
That's good as well. Takeo Yokoyama, project leader of the Honda RC213V, offering his congratulations to Gigi Dall'Igna.
Yeah, and the sportsmanship of Marquez and Dovizioso at the end. They were laughing, weren't they?
Gigi Dall'Igna looks like he needs to go and have a lie down in a dark room. He looks absolutely drained.
Boy, did we enjoy that. I hope you did at home.
Yeah, of course, let's not forget all the euphoria.
That's gone out, that's all forgotten, isn't it?
Yeah, he's only the 9th rider in history to reach that landmark. You're kind of forgetting all the euphoria of what was a truly nail-biting and breathtaking Japanese Grand Prix. The 52,000 brave souls that turned up today, well, they were richly rewarded, weren't they, for sticking it out in pretty awful conditions.
Prepare for the next one, boys. That's what the teams are saying. Most people will fly out to Australia tomorrow morning. We'll arrive at Phillip Island on Tuesday. And the fun and games start on Friday morning. Another pivotal round of the World Championship. That's surely one of the best Grand Prix circuits for 2 or 4 wheels anywhere in the world.
Big puff of the cheeks from Andrea Dovizioso.
I think he needs a lie down, to be honest with you. Yeah. He's in good spirits, Marc Marquez. I'm really pleased to see that, because I think he realises that he just he could do no more. He's a very happy man talking to them, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal race. Phenomenal right from the get-go.
Yeah, it was. Danilo Petrucci, great start by Jorge Lorenzo. Dovizioso actually made a terrific start from the third row of the grid. Didn't need to be right in there, right from the start. And that was important. He didn't want to get caught in the spray. So the podium at Motegi. In the centre, Andrea Dovizioso. To his right, Marc Marquez. To his left, Danilo Petrucci.
Yeah, Dovizioso's 5th win in the last 10 races. Kevin Schwantz handing over the Constructor Trophy to Ducati.
He'd have enjoyed riding in that race, wouldn't he, Kevin Schwantz?
He really would.
And much more than us, he can appreciate just how difficult it is to ride in those conditions. So Danilo Petrucci, 4th podium finish of the season for the Pramac Ducati rider. What a performance. That first Grand Prix victory will come. But while you got 2 men in front of him who are there today, it's not going to be easy. Vito Ippolito, the FIM president, hands 2nd place trophy to Marc Marquez. Still leads that championship by 11 points, and it's his 100th podium finish in Grand Prix racing. But without a doubt, the most important Grand Prix victory of the season has gone here in Japan to Andrea Dovizioso. Three to go. 11 points separate the 2 men that have put on the show of all shows here in the rain in Japan. Champagne, carver time. Dovizioso happy to spray anybody who's wearing a red shirt at the moment, now anybody else. Danilo Petrucci takes a big swig. Marc Marquez, of course he wanted to win, of course Honda wanted to win, but what a race and what a championship this is turning out to be. We didn't think it could get a lot better than perhaps 2015. You know it is. Last year, of course, Marc Marquez was on the top step of the podium where he won the world title. Whoever's going to win that world title is probably going to have to wait till 1 month's time when we arrive at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia for the final round of this 18-round championship.